Hey, what's going on? So we're going to do a brief introduction to the Surfans. A little controversial right now. People don't understand this fingerprint magnet, by the way, glass on the front and the back. It does come with protectors, so that's good. So it's protected right off the bat from scratches, but still gives you a lot of fingerprints. Power button on. It's set for brightness number 6. So this has a very nice neutral sound. It does have a ton of filters and an equalizer, so you can make it whatever you want. It does have a touchscreen down here, but unfortunately, it doesn't have a light, so you can't really see what I'm doing unless I really put it up to the screen like that. So it has a bunch of different features, and it is a simple player. I'm going to stress that this is a simple player. I know that this has a $200 price tag, but this is a simple player. So you have a 4.6, I believe, inch screen. You have balanced output and standard output, which is also an input, and it's also SP SPDIF out input as well. You have USB-C charge and data. It's in one port, and you have a micro SD slot there, and then some buttons on the side, and that's basically it. And this is a nice, very well made Japanese volume knob, attenuator, whatever you want to call it. The interface, obviously simple. You can customize the interface 3 different ways. There's one where it's just text, and then there's one with the pictures. I like the pictures better because it reminds me a little bit of the interface on the F20, which was an exceptional value. This one being a little bit more expensive. So let's see, we're looking in here. This does FLAC wave, WMA, M4A, MP3, MP2, AAC, which APE, OGG. Now AAC I thought was Bluetooth, and this doesn't have Bluetooth. It's a native DSD64, so it's not the really high up DSD, but it does do DSD, no problems whatsoever. It has support for a bunch of different files. It's a very simple player. You're getting an ESS Sabre DAC chip. It is the ESS 9038Q2M DAC chip. Has up to 240 milliwatts at 32 ohms output. It has line out, SPDIF out, like I said, 4-inch IPS screen. Touch and physical buttons. Unfortunately, the touch buttons don't light up. So it has 2.5 millimeter and 3.5 millimeter output, native DSD decode, and it's also a USB DAC. So let's get into the things. There's 10 hours of playback with this. It does come with a 32 gigabyte card. Now, it should be noted that it can support up to a 512 gigabyte card, but I found that all the cards that I tried, it would only support a maximum of 128. That could be easily fixed with an update later on. So let's see, OGG, 24-bit, AAC, 8 to 16-bit, 32 kilohertz, OGG, 8 to 24-bit, 32 kilohertz, Windows Media Lossless, 8 to 24-bit, Apple Lossless, 8 to 24-bit. Has a 9-band equalizer with 5 available filters, FPGA chip and crystal oscillators inside of this, a Japanese ALPS rotary encoder, that's the volume knob. It has some very good quality components. Now, they're not the best components. Obviously, this doesn't do DSD, 32-bit up to like 300 and whatever the heck it is. I think I have a few files that are that, but very, very good. You drag and drop your files into the thing. Depending on your computer and your card, it may seem a little bit slow. Now, inside the package, you get the hi-fi player, you get a user manual, the USB cable, and a 32 gigabyte memory card, which is enough for like hundreds of files. Like I said, 10 hours battery time, over 4-inch display, and a good amount of storage capacity for this. USB-C. This supports Windows, Linux, Mac, everything, basically. So we went over the DAC. The SNR is 119 decibels. The THD plus N is 0.0006%. Very good. Recommend impedance with this is the impedance is 8 to 300 ohms. I did use my planar magnetics with this, did a good job. I also paired it with the Griffin in the background. Excellent job with that as well. It's got line out, it's got SPDIF output, DSD 64-bit, like we said, dynamic range 120 decibels plus 2 decibels, frequency response 20 to 50 kilohertz. And sound-wise, it's got some power and it's got extreme clarity in its sound. It sounds really nice and neutral sounding, straight out, not using any filters or anything. It's built like a tank. It reminds me of like a Fire or a Sony product. It's very, very striking looking. And as long as you go into it not expecting much, because there's a lot of mixed reviews on Amazon about this. As long as you go into this not expecting too much, it should be a decent product for you, to be quite honest. I like the way it sounds. I like the amount of power that it puts out. It pairs well with the objects and everything. And the interface, it's a learning curve. There's like a vibration when you touch the touchpad, so you know you're touching something. And it's just a learning curve. I set it up this way because the pictures are a little bit easier than reading the text and everything to navigate. But overall, simple player. I know that it's $199. That's not cheap, but that's also not expensive considering most players that look like this and are built like this solid. They may have a little bit better specs. Some of them may have even Android. I'm not 100% sure, but usually something that looks like this is about $600. So this is kind of targeted toward the budget person, the beginner who wants a full-size DAP, and you want to start getting into being more serious. That's what I think. But don't overly think it. It does not have Bluetooth. Well, there may actually be a Bluetooth chip in there, and it may be disabled, and maybe on the next firmware update, it'll be there. Another thing on Amazon, they're complaining about a firmware update. This product just came out. You're not going to get a firmware update usually with a product that just came out. You got to give it some time, and they got to, find out what problems are, and then they do that. So overall, I give this some decent marks as long as you're not expecting too much from it. It's just a good basic beginner, a little bit lower budget DAP for people. And this also works as a DAC on the computer too. So that said, I like it. It works for me. And, I hope that you like it. And if you don't like it, you can always return it, give it a try. And if it doesn't work out for you, maybe I can give you recommendations for something else or something. But so far, I'm happy with it. It's not perfect, but I think that it does a decent job and it sounds fantastic. That's the important thing, is the sound to me. So thanks so much for watching, and I will see you somewhere out on the internet. Be safe, please.